Saying a pleasant good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9. How are you doing? Those of you viewing us via GBN TV, good morning to you also. Those of you via social media platforms, welcome to the mid-morning buzz here on, of course, the mediums that I have subtly expressed a while ago. Hey, my guest this morning is Mr. Richard Oliver. I hope I'm getting the name right. I'm over some mess with names, right? So forgive me, sir, if I do some damage to your name this morning. So let's go with your first name then. Richard, good morning. How are you this morning, sir?
Good on yourself.
I'm alright. I'm doing it okay. Hope I didn't butcher that name too much this morning. I miss you.
A little bit, but it happens.
It happens. Of course, you're the managing director of First Link Business Solution. Tell us something about First Linked Business Solution. If I'm hearing about this for the first time, what is it about First Link Solution that you could just throw at me before we get in depth into the conversation this morning? Then you can hit me up also something about yourself as we move along this morning.
Yeah, so basically, First Link is more than just an accounting firm. My purpose was really to help business owners act as a wingman for them, help them get from point A to point B in running their business. And in most times, that just means that I'm helping you understand your financial numbers and use it to make decisions to achieve your business and personal goals.
It's as simple as that. Now, tell us something about Richard. Richard, for instance, who's Richard?
So about me, I'm an economics major. Accounting was something that I fell into and just happened to love it.
Right.
Do I like doing accounts per se? Probably not, and that may sound strange coming from an accountant. But what I love to do is working with small businesses and advising them.
All right. Now, tell us something about this. Now, do you only serve customers in the Caribbean, who say, if I to ask you as it relates to your business?
No, we serve clients within the Caribbean, but we've also launched a brand called CFO Lifeline in the United States, and particularly to deal with, in some subset, Caribbean-based businesses there as well. But it's not meant to be only Caribbean-based. It's Caribbean and any other person in the U.S. and North America, inclusive of Canada. So those are the markets we're in right now.
Let me also ask you this. Why is it important for business owners to know and understand financial statements or to create plans for the future? If I'm directing this question, I certainly hope you're going in the direction I'm going with it. Tell me about that.
Well, at the end of the day, accounting is basically the language of business. And most persons want to open a business, but not be able to talk the language of business owners. And, it sounds strange because if I have to look at my clients and see how many of them, speak fluent financials, they don't, right? And when you operate a business like that, then you're operating it based on emotion, gut, and intuition, because you don't really know whether or not you're making the right decisions. You need to be able to make those decisions based on hard facts that you're seeing monthly in your financial statements. And to the second point of your question with regards to planning, at the end of the day, we come into business to make money to achieve some sort of personal goal. Never met a business owner that just is there just to grow the business. There's some personal goal driving it. And if we want to achieve that personal goal, then it means we have to plan for the growth that business owner wants to carry his business to.
All right. You mentioned something that sort of grabbed my interest a wee bit. You said understanding the language. Explain that a little bit for me.
So understanding the language for me is that at the end of the day, I will call it the economics of business. A business owner gets $1 from a customer, and that dollar goes in particular places. Part of that dollar is going to go in the direct cost to make his product or service. Some of that dollar is going to go in sales and marketing activities. Some is going to go in administrative expenses. Some might go into finance costs, loans, bank charges. If an owner can't tell me his economics of his business and tells me if for every $100 I receive, I spend $30 on direct costs, $10 on sales and marketing, $5 on finance cost, and I'm left with X amount as profit, then we have a problem because it means that you're essentially running your business without hard data.
Interesting to know that. Now, I'm sure there are folks listening to us this morning and probably are grasping in the information that you're sharing this morning. Would like to hear some quick tips in terms of accounting advice. And can you offer some business owners right now who are probably listening to this program this morning more ways to become more, should I say, financially stable, if I could say it in that particular way?
Well, ways to become financially stable, I think it first goes back to your initial question, the purpose of planning.
Yeah.
If you want to be financially stable, then you need to have a budget. And having a budget is the first thing. But a lot of people have budgets. A lot of people plan with good intentions. Most people don't keep to the plan, right? So understanding and appreciating you need a budget and then sticking to that budget. But in everything that we do, and even when I speak to a business owner, when we create a plan and we create a budget, we don't expect that because we create this plan and budget that everything is going to go in line with that plan. We expect things to go off course. And when they do go off course, that's where regularly reviewing this budget and seeing if you're aligned with it and then taking corrective actions. So if I have a budget, then I need to be looking and saying, well, I was supposed to spend X amount of money this month on entertainment and I went over it. What's the correction going to be to myself? And again, whether it's with individuals or business owners, most people don't hold themselves accountable where their finances are concerned, personal or business-wise. So those would be my kind of tips, create a budget, stick to it, review it regularly, and hold yourself accountable.
I certainly agree with you there. Now, there are things that business owners should be aware of, or should I say, or look out for, that can, of course, that they should do, or maybe they can avoid those, their business or their finances, but they financially ruined, if I could say it in that way. What are those things that business owners should be looking out for, or should be aware of, to create that, of not creating that financial ruin, if I could put it in that way?
Okay, so I think some of the things business owners should look at to prevent themselves from being financially ruined. One is to make sure they have proper record keeping, and that goes back to my first point about the whole accounting. But if you don't have proper record keeping, it doesn't matter what you do, jump high, jump low, if you don't keep those records, it's very difficult for a professional to come in and make sense of it. So the first thing that they should do to ensure they don't go into financial ruin is to make sure they have records. Those records will allow them to identify what is going on in the business. A second thing that I think causes financial ruins for a lot of persons is overspending. Right? Business owners like to acquire assets for acquiring assets' sake. Right? And sometimes they become asset rich but cash poor. And they have to understand at some point in time that cash is the lifeblood of the business. And don't be too quick to suck all the cash out of it, because there are times when you have economic downturns. So if we look at COVID-19, for persons who would be saying, well, I run a profitable business and every month I would make X amount of money, I could afford to engage in all of these mortgages and credit facilities with the bank. And then overnight, your income is just pulled away from you. Now, yes, COVID may have been, hopefully once in a decade kind of type of event, but it could come from having concentrations of revenue with one customer that may eventually fail or may leave you. So those things, you have to make sure and understand that cash is king and protect the cash in your organization. And the last one that I would mention is use credit facilities wisely. As I mentioned, as I spoke about credit facilities before. Most business owners use the credit facilities very haphazardly. So I'll give you a perfect example, the way they use credit cards. They get maybe a $30,000 credit card from the bank, and what they do essentially is they operate that credit card not within the interest terms, but they max it out at $30,000, and then whenever they need it, they make small payments on it to be able to use the credit card, not realizing that a credit card comes with the highest interest rates in the market right now. So basically, at the end of the year, you are basically losing a lot of money to the bank in terms of credit card fees and interest.
All right. Interesting pointers there. Of course, no one wants to be financially ruined at all in terms of business. Let me ask you this also. You know, how can someone become more disciplined? And discipline here is a key word to avoid overspending. You spoke a whole lot a while ago. Another question I am asked in terms of the overspending or making that bad financial decision. Tell me about that. How someone become more disciplined, especially when it comes to the overspending and so forth. What is that discipline that folks need to, entrench themselves in, if I would say that?
Well, trying to get someone, whether it's a personal individual or a business owner, to be more disciplined is really a hell of an activity. And what I would usually tell persons that, very few people could hold you accountable to become disciplined, but you have to want it for yourself. And it goes back to the point I made earlier. What are your personal goals? Because anytime I take on a new client, I don't want to know about the business as yet. In my discovery with that person, I want to know about their personal goals. Because if I know and understand their personal goals, then I appreciate why they may want to take certain decisions, why they may want to take certain risks. And when I understand that, that's not to say that I could prevent them from doing so, but because I'm armed with that knowledge, I could use that to hold them disciplined to themselves by saying, hey, the goal is to be able to retire by 40, 50, whatever the case may be. Then you can't be taking these decisions. And for me, dealing with business owners and to some extent with individuals, the best way to hold them to be disciplined to their habits is by tying it to some goal that they actually care about.
Now tell me, I've been listening to all of the advice you've been throwing out, the quick tips and so forth. What other services do you provide that to help businesses in terms of helping them to grow and thrive a whole lot in these times that we are going through right now? What are the other services that you offer or you provide? I should ask.
So we provide what I will call a full service financial management suite for persons. So we do bookkeeping, tax preparation, business advisory, budgeting for persons. And I also sum it up as what we would call, I act as your virtual CFO. So what I will do is I would provide you with a sounding board. I act as like a wingman to a business owner. And my goal is to really understand where you want to go, understand where your business is right now, the gap that exists between the 2 points, and create a plan to get you there. And that's essentially what we do day in and day out. I could say it in a lot more different terms, but when it comes back down to simplicity, I am helping a business owner understand their financials so that they can make decisions to achieve their business and personal goals.
All right. Richard, I'm certainly really happy to hear all of the advice you offered there. And I'm sure there are businesses that are listening this morning that would like to make some kind of connection with your company right now to obtain the advice, to obtain more knowledge in terms of making their business more financially stable. Give us that information, how that individuals can connect to you or businesses can connect to you, of course, or your company per se.
They can connect to us by going to our website, www.firstlinkt.org, and book a consultation through the website.
It's as simple as that.
As simple as that.
Richard, I want to thank you a whole lot for sharing information this morning. Of course, it's very, very important information that, of course, that businesses would adhere to and stabilize their business a whole lot. And I want to thank you for taking the time out for being here on the Mid-Morning Buzz and sharing such information. Have a blessed day, sir. Thanks once again.
Thank you so much.
All right, blessings, man. Hey, folks, that's where we take a wrap for this edition of the Mid-Morning Buzz here on Classic Radio. Join us again for another edition.